Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob Wheeler. We have a couple things that we need to talk about. If you don't live under a rock, then you are very much aware of the the UAP phenomenon that has taken place across the world really the last several years, but especially in 2023, and even zoomed in a little more in February 2023. There are other people that can make way higher quality videos than I'm able to make, like Johnny Harris. He did an amazing analysis of it, so if you're looking for something like that, he does a great job of kind of sifting through the bullshit on the UAP thing, because there's two directions. So the first of which everyone I'm pretty sure is aware of, was the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down in the United States on the February 4th. Really, it was majorly talked about. There was no alien UFO type connection with it. It was really just an interesting story because it floated into the Alaska airspace and then on down through the northern part of the United States before we ended up shooting it down. The interesting part of that story is that before the United States announced it, they had already seen it 2 days before on their radar. And so for 2 days, they were trying to figure out kind of what the game plan was and how they were going to frame it to the public. It ended up being a decision to condemn China for the weather balloon floating into our airspace, and how that's absolutely not okay. I think, and sure, the government said that, you know, China was trying to spy on the United States using one of their spy balloons, and we shot it down. Right now, we're in the process of looking at the equipment. We recovered it. The United States framed it like China was trying to spy on us, which I don't think is the case. China has no issue spying on us. That's not what I'm saying. If they're going to spy on us, it's not going to be from a weather balloon that we could easily detect and shoot down. They do it in other ways. Obviously, our phones are the number one avenue for that right now. There's hearings right now as we speak about TikTok and the potential surveillance that is happening on the younger generation in the United States, and there's a really high chance that there's going to be a outright ban of the app, or something happening to where we're unable to use TikTok anymore, because there's some legitimate security threats with that, or they hack, or there's other avenues. But normally it's from the shadows or undercover type situation. Normally it's not going to be this blatant. So I tend to agree with the takes from people like Hassan Piker, who basically just said it probably was a mistake. A windstream probably just caught it and it drifted into our airspace, because the design of that weather balloon is that it's a balloon, and so it could just float, and sometimes it's possible for control to be lost. The United States is using this as an opportunity to frame it to the public how China's bad, the United States is good, and how we need to fight back against China, not militarily per se, but in other ways. So there's that interesting situation. I know the Chinese government came out and said that over 20 weather balloons from the United States have flown into their airspace since 2022. So, you know, there's some back and forth here. So we'll keep up with that. The other interesting stuff is that since then we've had 3 other major UFO sightings and shootings. The first of which was in Alaska on February 10th, in Canada on February 11th, and then over Lake Huron on February 12th. And this shit is pretty fascinating.
Right now, the government is working to identify yet another object in the sky. There have now been 3 objects shot down in a week, and there were worries that a 4th might have been spotted in Montana.
The U.S. military and FBI already working in tough Arctic conditions off the remote coast of Alaska to try to recover and learn more about that other unidentified object brought down Friday.
It's all very confusing. No one really knows what to think of the situation as it currently stands. The general public is receiving this information in mostly 2 different ways, and they're both bad. One direction is that these UAPs are drones from other countries, namely our adversaries, such as Russia, China, North Korea. We know it's not North Korea. They don't have the technology to even launch a missile our direction, so you know, we're just gonna put them to the side. Afghanistan, another poorest country. I don't know if they have the technology to be messing around with drones in the United States airspace. I don't know if they want to be poking the bear like that. So there's that. So a government adversary. On the other side, alien UFOs. And when you look at the body of evidence that UFOs are starting to get, and I'll give it, 95% of all these sightings, not more than 99% of all these sightings are either fake by people trying to get attention online, or there's video error. You know, sometimes light glitches happen, sometimes the pixels mess up. You know, there are explanations for a lot of these things, but there's a lot of shit that still goes really unexplained. And going back to the Johnny Harris video I was talking about, he talked about this ex-Navy pilot who in 2004 saw this object from his aircraft go at 60,000 feet, dropping thousands and thousands of feet in a matter of a split second. And then you have these other Navy pilots who have no incentive to talk about these sightings, because if you're in the military and you talk about UFOs, you're probably going to get kicked from the military because it's a very established organization. No one's going to want to take the kook talking about Area 51 UFOs seriously. And so they don't have an incentive to talk about it. But you have these Navy pilots doing interviews talking about how they see these crafts every day. He said 85% of all their fleet has seen these crafts themselves, has detected on their radars, and it's just become kind of normalized. And for the most part, they weren't being taken seriously up until the United States government actually created a task force to investigate all sightings, because there was a couple instances where these random crafts that the United States government has no idea what they are almost hit our fighter jet. It obstructed the way that we do our business, and that is what eventually took the United States to say, okay, we should probably look into that a little bit.
Welcome back. The U.S. intelligence community says UFO reports involving the military are on the rise. The Pentagon has looked at 366 new reports, deeming half of them unremarkable, but investigators are still trying to determine the cause of the others.
This task force has debunked a lot of these claims, which is the purpose of the task force, is to figure out what happened and why these things are being seen the way they are and what these could be. Because whether it's UFOs from a different country or UFOs from out of a world outside of ours, we have an incentive to want to know what the those things are. Another interesting aspect of the whole thing is that a lot of these UFOs, which before we didn't have this evidence, but a lot of them are being detected on these radar systems that were created by the United States government. So there's literal, tangible evidence of these crafts that we don't know what the they are. And we're supposed to be the United States. There's not supposed to be something flying in our airspace that we don't know what it is. And it's happening so often now that it's raising concern from everybody. It's getting very interesting. It seems that, and I don't know how this is possible, that 2022 was the precursor to 2023, because it seems that shit is getting a little, it seems that things are ramping up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I really appreciate everyone watching the video. I'm going to keep an eye on, obviously, any reports that come from the wreckage that was shot down. Hello, I just wanted to pop in real quick. This is future me real quick. I just wanted to give a quick update and say that nothing really came of the UAPs that were shot down. In fact, according to some reports, the UAPs weren't even able to get picked up by our government. You heard that correctly. The United States government was unable to retrieve the UAPs that they detected on their radars and shot down. All this fuss that was made about what was going to come from these, all this hype that was built around this, and like a lot of things, we don't get the full story. There's nothing else that I really had to say here. I just feel like that context is necessary to say that we only get 1% of the story every single time. So keep your eyes and ears open, ladies and gentlemen. We are heading into the great unknown. Now back to the video. What a weird time that we are in. Hard to keep up with. I was like, even at the beginning, I was trying to like outline like the order of events of what happened, and it's difficult to keep up with. It's overwhelming to try to just sift through all the news, let alone everything else that's going on in the world. Anyways, I hope you all have a good one, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.